Hi friends, welcome back to Race Crate Cards, and y'all know I'm all about leaves, and today's card is going to be a very traditional fall Thanksgiving card, depending on what sentiment you put on there. And I am featuring, I had not ordered from Stamp Simply for a while, and I got in there the other day and I fell in love with this set. I love this leaf with the acorns attached. You also have an extra acorn, but do you see the verses? We're going to be using today the give thanks, and on the inside of the card, let us come before him with thanksgiving, which is Psalms 95:2. Give thanks to the Lord, for he is good. His love endures forever. 1 Chronicles 16:34. Rejoice always, pray without ceasing, in everything give thanks. I thank my God upon every remembrance of you. This is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. That's also perfect for birthdays too, guys. Yeah, you could make this into a fall birthday card if you wanted to. Not a problem. And then the dies, there are two dies, one for the acorn and one for the big leaf with the acorns. And so that's what we're going to feature on today's card. Now, in an effort to start replacing some of my rectangle dies, I bought two sets recently from Spellbinders, and I don't remember if I've showed these before in a video. I kind of think I have. Anyway, here is one of them. We're going to be using this one. It is called Scored Pierced Dies, and there are 7, and we're going to be using these two today. But I have already written down what these dimensions measure out, so that if you just need to cut these layers with a trimmer, or even, you know, like a different set of dies, you can do that. I've already done the die cutting, so I'm going to put them back in here, and you will notice the way they did these. Your largest one has kind of like the stitching, if you want to call it that, and then you have the scored. Stitching and scored, stitching, scored, stitching. So that no matter how you might layer these on a card, you've got a little bit of difference in all your layers, okay? So we're going to use that. And I've already done some prep work. You know me. And then, again, I can't remember if I've used this before. I may have. But this is from Spellbinders, September of 2023. Mushroom Harvest. Wonderful, wonderful folder with so many. It's got leaves and little berries and mushrooms and just different foliage in here. I love this. It's a very intense folder. So there's going to be a little bit of coloring in this, but not just a whole lot, in preparation for that on Very Vanilla. And I am looking for some other cardstock to replace the Very Vanilla when I finally do run out, because I also relied heavily on the thick Very Vanilla when we had it for my card bases. I'm using regular vanilla for my card base today, and it's a tent fold card, so it was cut at 4 1/4 by 11 and scored at 5 1/2. But I don't like that real light weight. Now, I'm conflicted on what colors to make the leaf. Very honestly, just orange and yellow looks really good, but a lot of oak leaves also have some red in them. So we're going to try this, and we're going to see how it looks on one. If I don't like it, I'm going to do it on, not bring it in on the next one. And this, you just don't have to be all that with it. So I am simply just going to take and just kind of here in the middle, and I'm just going to flick this out on either side. No rhyme or reason. Doesn't even have to be all that. And so if you have Stampin' Up! Blends, you could use your Real Red, or your, I think Poppy Parade would be a pretty one too. So there's that. I used my Ohuhu, and that's R8. It's called Geranium. And then for my orange, I am bringing in YR3. But this was the video I was not happy with, and I told you guys I wanted to redo, you know, just redo the whole thing, change up my colors. And it wasn't the color of the leaf, or even how I colored the acorns or anything. It was the background that I did. So anyway, and I'm just coming out a little bit of orange. I'm going up into that red and kind of bringing that out so that when this dries, it'll be kind of blended. See, as you can tell, I'm just not taking a whole lot of time with it. And then for my yellow, I am using Y3, which is called a barium yellow. And again, I'm going to kind of come into that orange and bring that out so that that yellow has a little bit of that tone with it. Just a bit. And as you can see, even for the size of this leaf, I'm not spending a whole lot of time. And when this dries and settles, I think this might look okay. But we'll see. We'll see. Some areas will have more yellow than others. But isn't that like a leaf? I have never seen any two leaves that are the same. And I'm really not sure that I like that red in there. So let's do this real quick before I go any further. Let's go and just do an orange and yellow. And this is one of those times I just kind of wish you guys were live with me. Really need to start doing those again. But I'm also under the gun right now. I have a Zoom at 3 o'clock, and my time here, it is 1:40. Wendy Cranford is doing something different in the vault. We are now going to have 2 live Zooms every month. We will be able to create along with her. She has sent out an email letting us know what techniques and what supplies we would need to be able to craft along with her, with the understanding that we are free to substitute whatever supplies, we want to use. Say, for example, background stamps. We all have various background stamps. I have a bunch from Hero Arts. A bunch. Love those. Love them. Well, let me see here. Here we go. Now, I'm just going to blend a little bit more around the edges of my orange so that when it dries, there we go. There we go. And I think I'm going to like that better than the red. I really do. I think if I was going to do red tones, I would need to pick out several shades of red to do that right and correctly. And so for the cap of the acorns, I am using Y12. It's a mahogany. And because of the way that's stamped, and I did use early espresso to stamp that in, my outlines are going to be darker than, I'll hold this up here in just a minute so you can see it. I'm trying to concentrate and make sure I don't go too far out of the lines. Try not to. With watercolor, you can kind of fix it. Alcohol markers, not so much. So let me finish this one right here. Now I'll hold that up for you so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. And so in real life that shows up so well. For the branch, and there's not much of it showing, I'm bringing in the YR5. Now originally the YR5 matched very well with Cinnamon Cider, a retired color of ours, and my original card had a little bit of Cinnamon Cider in it, not very much. I just wanted a little bit of difference there. And then we're going to color the acorn. And for the acorns, I am using Y210, Y270, and Y230. So let's go ahead and get those colored. Obviously, there's going to be some shading right here where that cap is coming down onto the acorn. Right over here where it's closer to the leaf. And I'm actually going to extend that down a little bit more. And then right here, going to have a little bit of shadow, probably coming all the way around where it's laying over that leaf. I may be wrong about that, but the acorns actually look really good when all's said and done. And then I'm going to bring in my mid-tone. Just kind of bring that in. And bring that in. And my lightest tone. And finish that up. This one here in the middle. And there we go. I'm going to take my lightest tone and also just kind of come up into that darkest tone and bring that out a little. So I want these to blend pretty softly. And then we need to go ahead and get ready to color Y210. I need Y210. And that's it. We're going to color a couple of extras. I'm not sure. Oh, I want my brush. I'm not sure if we're going to use these, but I'd rather have them than not. So I'm going to color a couple more. I know I stamped 4, but I don't think I'm going to use them all. Oops. And then my lightest right down here. Again, I'm going to come up with my lightest color, kind of soften some of that darkest shade, because acorns, they're not splotchy, and these won't be when they dry. However, do want them to kind of blend out a little bit. Now, I'm not sure how this is going to look. Oh, and then, of course, I also need to do my caps. So let me bring back my Y12. Kind of getting ahead of myself. I'm so excited, though, for today's Zoom. Wendy is actually doing more and more for that Creative Vault and getting people brought in. It doesn't matter if you're stamping up, if you're not stamping up. It does not matter. She was wonderful in telling us how to prep for today's Zoom, that we were free to substitute any supplies that we actually had. And I think I have a Wink of Stella, but this is the gold. And I think I would like to outline my veins in my leaves, just to give it a little something. Just a little something. So let's do that very quickly. And I'll hold it up. You may not be able to see just a whole lot of that. I'm going to hold it up when I get done. This is going pretty quick. I don't want to keep you here long. I don't want to be here long, so that I know I've got all of this cleared away, put away, and my materials brought out for the Zoom. And I think I may just do the caps of the acorns with a light coat. I don't want to like overdo it with the metallic. But fall is such a great time to use some of the metallics that we have. And I'll hold this up and hopefully you'll be able to see this. I hope. Okay. Now, it's not dry yet all the way. But can you see any of that shimmer that we just put in there? It's going to be extremely hard to see it on the leaves. I can see it in real life, but I know it's going to be really hard for you. Your best bet is to maybe see it on the acorns. Not sure if you can. All right, and let's get ready to die cut these out. I've already got everything else prepped. So we're going to get out these dies. It was my first time to use them when I did that first video that I was not happy with and did not release publicly. I uploaded it, but I didn't release it. And I'm going to bring in my little mini-me, because I think this will go. It will. I should have thought about that before starting, right? But it would have been no big deal to bring in the big one. I've got my light gray plate, my bottom cutting plate, and we are going to, I need to get some tape because I'm so afraid they're going to shift. So let me get some tape started here if I can. Oh, so guys, here the other day, I went ahead and had my nails professionally done. And the first time it wasn't too bad. I didn't feel like my manicure came out like it should have. Totally. But I was very pleased with how it held up. When I went back the second time, I was really starting to have misgivings. And I thought, you know, anybody can have off times. So I went back a third time. Told them I wanted to try. I had been doing the powder. I had been doing the dip. And I was happy with it. But they had told me that it would be cheaper to do the gel. Okay. So I told them I wanted to do gel. Well, two of them started yakking about gel and acrylic. I'm ignorant on all this, guys. I truly am. So I asked them straight up. You guys are going to go, oh yeah, as soon as you hear what I've about to say. I asked them if gel and acrylic was the same thing, because honestly, I didn't know. Oh yeah. What they ended up doing, and I ended up paying more. I was very upset. She was moving really fast, and she just started chopping off my fingernails. I mean, like, not even taking time to round them or anything. And we had just had a conversation. Did I want to keep the length my fingernails were at? And I had said, yes, I do not want them any shorter at this time. And I started to get upset. And I let her know I was upset. And she hurriedly brought out these long fake fingernails, which she matched up to my nail and then clipped them off to about the length that mine were at. She did a horrible job. I had gel all the way down to this first knuckle. And all this that you see that looks like bad skin, that's that gel. Look how thick it is on this fingernail. Look at that. I never leave bad reviews. I did this time. I left a bad review. Going into great detail about what she did and how she did it. She literally punctured under my thumbnail. I had dried blood under here. And I had to soak it in colloidal silver to prevent an infection. So, will I ever go back? Not there. Not there. I talked to my niece, who is very experienced in getting her nails done, and found out that what they did was gel, tips, and acrylic. All three. Why, I don't know. I never asked for that. I told them specifically what I wanted. That I wanted gel. And I was ignored. And they did what they wanted to do. It was obvious she was in a hurry. And it was painfully obvious that... It was painfully obvious that she was in a hurry so she could get to the next patsy that had walked in the door. So, anyway, it has been a week today. I am filming this on Thursday, August the 8th. You're going to see this tomorrow on Friday. And I've got another week to go. And I've been really faithful to take my B vitamins and all that so that my real nails can grow out some, so that I can go to the place it was recommended for me to go. I am probably going to end up having to pay extra for them to remove all this garbage, you know, with the tips and all that kind of thing that's going on. So, yeah, it was just getting to be a hassle for me to do my own nails all the time. It just was. I was doing them, you know, on Saturday evenings before church on Sunday, and I was doing them for the videos, and then, you know, if any other reason that I had to go out in public, I was constantly redoing them. And I was buying really good quality of nail polish. And I know there are some YouTubers who highly recommend, I don't know if I can get that alcohol ink up with just water, but I'm going to try and see if I can move that. Not so well, but I'll come back and get that later. I just want to make sure it doesn't transfer to anything we're doing right now. So yeah, it's been a learning experience. Now on the inside of my card, I do want a layer of early espresso, and this is 4 by 5 1/4. We're going to put that on the inside. And then I have my very vanilla at 3 3/4 by 5, and I did use Let Us Come Before Him with Thanksgiving. It just does my heart good. Now, I like to dabble. You guys have probably picked up on that by now. I don't always want to use traditional colors. There are things I like to do to kind of change things up. And there are also other times when I want traditional. And so this design here, regardless of what you have in your stash, I am hoping you know that you can take this and turn it into any kind of an occasion in the fall. It doesn't have to be Thanksgiving, but this is a quick, easy way to put a card together. I love Stamp Simply. I highly recommend them. I have never had an issue with any of their products. And the dies cut so well, as you just saw. No issues there. I didn't have to cut the dies apart, which to me is huge. Now, on the outside of the card, and I use those dies. However, if you don't have those dies, this layer measures 3 1/2 by 4 3/8. It is heavily embossed. Isn't that pretty? Ah, I love it. So I do want to make sure my corners and my sides are going to stay laid down. Let's get a little bit closer to the edge there. There we go. Just to make sure that's going to stay on. And this is a little bit away from me. I'm going to sketch it and yet stay in camera, because I would like to try to make sure I put it straight and as much in the middle as I can get. Best of my ability. Press that really well. I love that though. You see all that wonderful texture? And you know, honestly, if you're really pressed for time or you're wanting to mass produce, put a cinnamon on it. You're good. You're good. And then I have a piece of Stampin' Up! Crumb cake that I did that last out of. And before I glue that down, let me get my leaf. Now, outlines, and this being very vanilla, it's not like it's a stark white. I'm going to take the Wink of Stella Gold, and I'm going to fill in. I'm going to fill in and get rid of that very vanilla outline. Let me put this here. Yeah, she was rough. Like when she was filing, when she wasn't just filing on the fake nail, she was filing into my skin. I had to let her know several times, It just, guys, it amazes me. And I don't understand the greed. I know it's hard to make a living in this day and age, and I know when you're running a business, it's even harder. When you're, running your own business, you've got overhead, you have insurance, you have utilities and wages and supplies, and inventory and all that kind of thing. But there is no excuse for treating somebody like a piece of meat and all you're interested in is their money. That just goes all through me. And I've prayed about it, that they would have a change of heart. But I don't know. I don't know. But hopefully they will wake up and realize that they need to be treating people better. Time will tell. All right. I am thinking about raising this up and not having this in the middle. Do I want this in the middle? Let's see. If we put this here. Oh, isn't that pretty? Do I want that in the middle? I think I'm going to raise this up, and here's why I think I'm going to raise it up. We haven't done our sentiment yet. So just for the minute, we're going to put that over to the side. This is not damp anymore, but I think that'll get that up well enough for the minute. I'm going to bring in my Misty, where I have the sentiment Give Thanks already mounted. I have a piece of very vanilla cardstock in here. But instead of stamping it in early espresso, I am going to heat emboss it in gold. So I'm just doing the whole piece here. I don't need the whole piece, but I'm prepping the whole piece with that anti-static powder. And I have got my Versamark here. Let me bring this over a little bit more. You can see where I have my stamp here. Give Thanks. And I am going to stamp this twice, just to make sure I get good. I don't see it very well there. Let's see. That looks pretty good. We're going to go one more time. Just gently, gently. I'm going to leave that closed. Cap my Versamark. Bring over my Simon Says Ultra Fine Gold. I love this stuff. And I'll pick this out of here. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there are times you just need to ask around and get recommendations. And I should have called my niece long before I did. I'm looking at that. I think that looks okay. You see how I don't have any residual powder? Any? That is why I am such a believer in the Rabbit Hole Designs powder tool. I have never used a powder tool that worked like this one works. Now, I'm not saying that you'll never have any residue to have to knock off, but far and above, I don't do it very often with the Rabbit Hole Designs like I do with others. And what they use in their powder tool is kaolin clay, which is vastly different than what other companies use, and it just has properties to it that are amazing. It amazes me how well that works. And you may be able to hear my heat gun. I've got it warming up before I hit this with the embossing tool, and we're going to die cut it out and be able to put this card together. Let me see if we're there. I am noticing that my heat tool seems to be taking a little bit longer than normal to start heating up anymore. And it has had a lot of use. A lot of use. So hopefully it's not on its way out. I hope not. And I'm looking. Isn't that pretty? All right, so let me get out. I am going to die cut this with the retired rectangle stitch dies from Stampin' Up. And let me kind of get that centered here. Am I in camera? I am. And without getting my head in the camera. And what did I do with my tape? I don't see it. So I'm going to tear a couple of pieces here. Make sure, try to make sure I'm centered top to bottom and side to side. Oh, I hope I am. I hope so. And we'll run this through if I can. Is that going to be big enough? Ew. That's, yeah, it'll go. It will. Barely, but it will. So let me get my bottom plate. Let me get this on here. Get this lined up. Should have measured my scrap before the video. I'm going to run that through. As much as I want to get away with the small machine, y'all know that if I have to, I'll get out the big one. And I wasn't able to tilt it, and that's why it clicked so hard. Because I ran this whole edge through instead of being able to angle it. But that's all right. We got it done. Got her done. And push that out. So I've got one more week to go, guys. And prayers out there to all of you who may be thinking about having your nails professionally done. You know, ask around. People that have used a business for some time, what they think. Now, off camera, I die cut this twice out of Very Vanilla, and I glued them together because I wasn't sure I wanted to pop it up, but I definitely wanted a little bit more going on with my sentiment, and I wanted to give it good stability. So, got this, got this, got this, got this. Okay. And thank you guys so much for your comments and thumbs up on Tuesday's video. Thank you so, so much. And I realized later after the fact, you know, this was the card that we did on camera. But I never even showed you my original card that I had done. So let me take it out of here. They're almost identical. But you know, when you ink blend, no two cards are ever going to be the same. Let's see. Pretty much the same. I moved the sentiment over in this one. I had a little bit more purple in this one. And I think I had a whole lot more gold splatter on those leaves than I did these leaves. But I don't know. I love the technique. I hope you guys did too. And would you looky there? Huh. You know, I kind of think I like that. I kind of think I do. Now, if I sketch it up, I really want this up here so that that early espresso is behind it. Do we want to do that? What does that look like? Do y'all ever do this? You get to going on something and you go, well, you know, wait a minute. But that's okay. We're going to glue down the leaf. It's a little bit late to start angling things because I didn't plan for it. I didn't have things sized right to really do that. So I'm just going to lay that there. And then I'm going to put glue really well on the back of this. Even though this is not embossed, it's going on an embossed layer. And I do want it kind of straight. And I want a little bit of that early espresso hanging out up there. I do want to make sure I'm kind of centered from side to side and not not off kilter. Okay, I think we're okay there. That looks like I have about the same on either side. It's looking like it's on there straight. And, where are those little, we just did some extra acorns and I have already lost them. Let's see if I can find them. Maybe I covered them up with those cards. Maybe I did. Where'd they go? Ah, here they are. So, do we want anything with the sentiment? You know, what I think I would rather do is put those inside. And again, let's take that Wink of Stella, because it looks like my die did shift a little bit. So we're going to take this Wink of Stella, just go around the edges, kind of tamp that down, and blend that in a little bit better with the colors that we have going on. I don't know how long I used the clear Wink of Stella. Sorry, my husband was coming in the front door. I heard it opening and I thought, uh-oh. So I shut my door real quick. And never realized that Wink of Stella comes in different colors. And I've got their silver. I don't have any of their other colors, but I do have the clear, I have the silver, and I have the gold. And I have not so far felt a need for any of their other colors. So, do I have that filled in? I see some very vanilla hanging out there. Okay. A little bit more right there. I'll give that just a second to dry. And we're going to go back to the front of the card and put down our sentiment. And that is pretty thick with all 3 layers of regular, very vanilla. And I think I'm just going to glue that down. On my original card, I did pop it up. But this time, I think we're just going to glue it down. And I'm hoping that this card is showing you don't have to have a lot of all that stuff to do a cute Thanksgiving card. If all you have is one nice leaf that you can quickly color with pencils or watercolor, alcohol markers, die cut it out, put it on the front of your card, and again, now maybe you can see a little bit of that gold sparkle there. And I can see it in real life on the leaf, and it would show up for your recipient, but I don't think I'm getting that to show on camera. If you don't have gold embossing, if you're not into heat embossing, then absolutely just stamp that with a colored ink, and that would not be a problem. Let's glue these down to the inside. Just going to put them down here in my corner. It's kind of a habit I have. I tend to go to the corners. I can pick that up. But yeah, if y'all have any horror tales, leave me comments below. If you've had bad experiences with nail salons, one of the other things that really bothered me is that as she was finishing using a nail file or something, she threw them in her drawer. She didn't put it to the side to clean it, to disinfect it. She put it in a drawer. So I was fortunate. Do you see how that's shaped? Can you see that? Do you see that? None of these are, they're all, and there's no color on the very edges. There's none. This is horrible. So I've been trying to kind of camouflage it on camera. All right, guys. I love this. What do you guys think? Let us come before him with thanksgiving. Isn't that sweet? But you could just as easily do a birthday card. It's awesome. Anyway, my husband's home. I want to go and touch base with him. And y'all be safe, be blessed, know you are loved. God is good all the time. And be sure and check out Wendy's Creative Vault. I'll leave a link below. Bye.